Good morning and welcome to today's show. Now, I first need to apologize for not being live the last few weeks. There's been some illness, the dreaded C. The whole family came down with it, and 2 weeks kind of didn't do much. So I'm trying to get back on schedule with these, and also getting pre-recorded videos out there. So I do apologize about that. So the sun is shining, and today I wanted to go through some questions that you should ask yourself when you are going to build a brand new website. Now, I have 3 key questions that you should ask yourself before you even start looking at getting a website built, going and finding web developers, web designers, etc. But I also have 2 bonus questions to ask yourself as well, so do stick to the end. So let's get into today's show. Hi, my name is Jason Kruger, and on this channel I'm looking to help people with the online marketing tech. And the reason for that is there's just so many different applications, online software that you can use for your business, but it can be quite confusing, and people then just get stuck and then just don't move forward. So I'm hoping that on this channel that I can answer those questions, get you thinking about how you can develop your business online and what technology and what tech you can use as well. So today I wanted to go through some questions that you should ask yourself when you are looking to build a new website. And I think the first question you need to ask yourself is, what is the actual goal of this website? And I think sometimes this gets missed when you start looking to build a website, because people think, I need to be online, so I'm going to have a website, people can contact me, I'm just going to put on stuff on there that I do. But ultimately they don't actually start to think through the whole process of what the website is actually there to do. Now, your website could have multiple purposes, but you need to have some goals in mind of what you actually want to achieve. How do you know if your website is actually successful? So the types of goals that you might be thinking about is, am I looking for lead generation? Am I selling things directly on the website? So, if you've got products to actually sell, are you putting those on the website? How are you putting them on the website? And then also decide how you're going to actually create all of this. If you're going to have lead generation, what are you giving away to help you to get those leads? Do you have a report in mind? Do you have a mini little course, audio? There are so many different things that you can use to help you with lead generation, but you do need to think about this right at the beginning, because you don't want to end up having to shoehorn something into your website because you totally forgot about it, and all of a sudden now you need lead generation, and it's going to end up messing up your design, or you're just kind of shoehorning it in so it doesn't actually look that great. So thinking about that before you even looking to get a site built is fundamental. You need to know what it is that you want to achieve from the website. Again, if you're looking to sell services or show people what you can do, what is the customer journey that you want them to go through? Are you giving them something for free? What are you doing after that? Are you following up with them? Are you getting other information? All of this needs to be thought about when you're building your website. Then the second question you should ask yourself is, what platform should my site be built on? And accompanying that is, are you building it yourself, or are you getting someone else to build it for you? And you need to look to see what platform you're going to have your site built on, because that is quite important, because it will help you answer a couple of questions that I have following from this one. It will actually help you answer that as well. But are you going to go down WordPress route, or are you going to be using other sites like Squarespace, Wix, where you just select a template and put the information in and away you go? So you do need to have a think about the platform, because yes, you might only just be starting out, but you also want to start thinking, into the future, and thinking, what type of features or other things would I want on this website going forward, and can the platform actually support it? Because you don't want to end up building a site on one platform and then find out that some of the things that you want to do on it in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months time, you can't do it on the platform that your site has been built on, and you're almost then having to start again with a website and getting it built on another platform that does allow you to have that feature set. So choosing the right platform is very important from the beginning, because I've had some clients that have their website built. It was built for them, but what it ended up being is that platform was a bespoke platform to that company that built the site for them. Now, the issue with that is that you are relying on that company maintaining that bespoke platform, to make sure that your site doesn't get hacked, etc. But a lot of the time, and this is what's happened with this other client, is that they wanted some other features which the platform did not provide, and it could be provided, but it was going to cost X amount because they had to develop it or they had to code it into the site. And you don't want to end up having those extra expenses. So when you're looking to create your site, think of the platform that you're going to be using, because you want to be able to add other features to other things maybe in the future, and you want to be able to do that and not be limited by the platform that your site has been built on. Now, question number 3 kind of also follows on from this, and that's, will you be able to update the content easily on these platforms? Again, if it's on a bespoke platform, they might have their own way of editing the content, which might not be intuitive. And I have experienced that. And, I've built sites for many, many years. And even I have found it difficult to find out how you edit on some of these platforms, because they just don't make it easy. So you do want to make sure that you can update the content easily, because you don't want to have to always rely on the web designer or the web developer that built your site for you to go in and make even the smallest of changes to your site. Because again, depending if you've got a maintenance package with them, they might charge you extra each time you want a small edit done on your site, and potentially you could end up waiting week, 2 weeks for them to make these small edits, because it's just added into their queue and they'll get to it when they get to it. So you do need to make sure that whatever platform you choose, that you can edit the content easily yourself, because sometimes it is just a small change that you want to make, and you don't want to have to rely on someone else making them for you. Now, if you do have any questions on anything that I've covered so far, then please do leave a comment down below, and I will make sure that I answer it for you. And if you do enjoy the content that I provide, then please do look to subscribe to the channel if you're on YouTube, and click on the notification bell as well to make sure that you get notified when I next go live or when I next post a video. And if you're on Facebook, then just make sure that you like the page so that you get notified as well. Now, those were the 3 kind of key questions that I would urge you just to think about straight away when you are looking to get a new site built, because there are plenty of other questions, but I think these are quite key just to help you go down the right path when you're first initially looking to build your site. But a bonus question is what's going to be the ongoing cost of the website? Now, as I've said, depending on the platform, you might have a maintenance package with your web developer, web designer, so that they are going to maintain the site for you, make any changes, etc., and just make sure that it is running fine for you. And that's especially if you do have a WordPress website, because there's always going to be software updates for WordPress, for plugins, for themes. And this just ensures that, one, it's secure against any vulnerabilities that might have been picked up, but it might add extra features to that as well. And technology is always moving forward, and you just want to make sure that what you're using is going to be compatible in the future as well. And that's why these software updates are important to install. So you need to look into what are going to be the ongoing costs of this of your website, especially if you might need hosting as well. And if you are using a site like Wix and Squarespace, then there is going to be a monthly cost to that as well. And if you have got someone making changes for you, you need to add that on top of that as well. And as I alluded to right at the beginning, is question 5 is, are you going to be getting leads from your website? And that is part of the goal of your website. But you also need to think about how you're actually going to nurture those leads. Yes, it's all very well saying, yes, I want to have lead generation on my website, and I do urge you to make sure that you have some sort of lead generation on your website, because that is going to be a fundamental way to help you grow your business online. So do make sure you have got some kind of lead generation on your website, be it a report, audio, whatever. But make sure that you are getting a name and email address so that you can then nurture them, put them into an email list. And again, when you are building out your website, if you are going to be looking to have lead generation on the site, what is the platform that you're going to have behind that as well, so that when someone does sign up to your lead magnet, that they are placed into a system where they're going to get the lead magnet straight away. It's all done automatically for you, so you're not having to go into your inbox, check to see who's wanting the report and then send it. You don't want that. That's, again, extra overhead that you need to do. And if someone then signs up over the weekend and they only get it on Monday, they're not going to read it. They're going to have forgotten that they signed up for it over the weekend, and if they haven't received it straight away, they're going to be wondering probably that your site is broken. So you do want to have some kind of autoresponder behind the system. And the one that I recommend to all my clients is ActiveCampaign. And what it allows you to do is, when someone does sign up for your lead magnet, they go directly into ActiveCampaign. You set up what they call an automation, so that when someone signs up, they go into that automation, they get your welcome email where you give them the link to that report, to the video, whatever it is, and they have now added to your list. And then you can then follow up with them as well. Make sure you have a few other emails that they receive. It could be telling them more about your business, what other services that you provide, linking back to the report. So maybe you highlight a certain point in your report, because that will just make sure that they do read the report as well. So, make sure you do have a system like that. As I said, I recommend ActiveCampaign, but there are a lot of others out there as well. MailChimp, GetResponse, ConvertKit, MailerLite. There are so many others out there, but you need to just choose one that you are comfortable using yourself. So those are the 5 kind of questions that I would always urge you to think about when you are looking to create your website. As I said, there are plenty of other questions out there, but do make sure that you at least answer these 5 questions, because they will help you to better understand what you're trying to achieve from your website. Now, there are some other questions or frequently asked questions that always come up when I talk about websites. And the first question that generally comes up is, I'm just starting out, and which platform should I use? Now, my answer is always going to be WordPress. I've always built my websites on WordPress because it allows me to do whatever I like on those sites. I can design it, add features, etc. that I want that site to have. I'm not limited by anything. Yes, there is a learning curve with that, and there are going to be other things that you're going to need, like hosting for your site, a theme, maybe a page builder, and other plugins potentially to help you add extra functionality to the site. But it is the most versatile platform out there for websites. I think it's something like 40% now of all websites on the internet run WordPress, and it just allows you to do so much more. Now, if you are just getting started out and you're not too techy and you don't want to go down that route, then other platforms like Squarespace, Wix, and even WordPress.com, which has everything online for you. You don't need any hosting. You can choose a theme, etc. on there and get your site built quite quickly. So there are other platforms that you can use. And if you don't want to go down the WordPress and self-hosting the website, then something like Squarespace will help you kind of get an online presence to start off with. But you need to look at what you want your site to achieve, and if you are going to do it yourself or you're going to get someone else to build it for you. The second question that normally comes up is, I want to gather leads, and how do I do that on my website? Now, I have answered this kind of in question 5, and the way you do it is you need to have some kind of web form on your website where you are going to be asking for their name and email address. Yes, you can ask for more information, but the more information that you ask for, the less likely that someone is going to give you those details and actually sign up for your lead magnet. Now, a lead magnet can be a multitude of things. It can be a PDF report. It could be one video or a small video training series. It could just be audio if that's your preference. But one thing that you do need to make sure is that your lead magnet is something that your ideal customer is going to want. So are you solving a problem that they might be having now within that lead magnet? Because if you're not, then they potentially are not going to download it. You don't just want a brochure of the services that you provide, because you should just have that on your website anyway. So you want something that is going to be good information that someone can use to solve an issue or a problem that they have now. Now, once you've got that, you then also need to decide how you're going to deliver that. And as I've said before, you want to use an autoresponder system like ActiveCampaign, MailerLite, MailChimp, GetResponse, Aweber, all of those. You need a system like that where you can capture that information directly from your website when they fill in that web form, and that you're then going to deliver whatever you've promised them through that email system. So you would have a welcome email, a link to whatever, and then a few extra emails. And then you probably want to put them into some kind of nurture sequence as well, so that you are at least emailing them after they've done that report. So when they might have another issue, you kind of top of mind when that comes around, and that again will help you to build your online business. Yes, it might not be something that's going to happen straight away, but you never know when your next client will come from that email list. Just depends on when they are ready to buy from you. The next frequently asked question is, why are some people against using WordPress? Yes, unfortunately, there are people that don't like using WordPress, and a lot of the times I find that it's because they have their own kind of agenda. They have their own bespoke platform that they build their websites on, or they're using one of the other lesser known content management systems. So CMS for short. That is what WordPress is. It's a content management system. So they don't want to use WordPress. They want to use one of theirs, or they use something like Squarespace to build their client sites. So they don't want to use WordPress. And the statement that always comes out is that, oh, WordPress always gets hacked. Now, the reason for that is because there's over 40% of websites online are built with WordPress. So it's a big target. I could say exactly the same thing about what, computer do you have? Do you have a Windows PC or do you have an Apple Mac? Because Windows PCs get hacked all the time, yet you still use them. You just make sure that you've got antivirus software on there and that you run the updates when Windows tells you to run the updates. And exactly the same thing with WordPress. That's why WordPress always has updates that you should run on your site, and I would urge you to run them at least once a week, because that's how you're going to secure your site, is to make sure that you are running those updates. The other thing to make sure that you're doing with your website is backing it up. You can have daily backups directly with your hosting provider. Now, that's not the only solution that I would always recommend. I would use a specialist backup plugin that you can buy. There are plenty of different developers out there that create these plugins. Updraft, Backup Buddy are kind of two of the most popular ones, and they will back up your WordPress website and the database. Now, when you're doing that, make sure that you are backing it up to another location and not to your own hosting provider right next to your website, because if something happens to the website, most often than not, your backup will be compromised as well. So make sure that you are kind of backing it up off site. But I don't see an issue with using WordPress. Like I say, I build all my client sites and all my sites on WordPress. So really, there really shouldn't be an issue using WordPress. But unfortunately, there are people out there that just don't want to use it, and they will use their own platform of choice. Question number 4: can I build my site using Squarespace? Yes, there's no issue in building your site using Squarespace. A lot of the time you can use some of their templates and use that as a starting point to build your website. And it's a good platform. My only concern with Squarespace and Wix and all that is you're basically renting your website from them, because you are going to be paying a monthly fee. As soon as you stop paying that fee, your site disappears. So that's why I always like to use WordPress on a self-hosted platform. Yes, okay, I've got to get my own hosting provider, but as long as I have a backup, I own that website and I can move it to any hosting provider that I wish. When you are with Squarespace, for instance, if you want to move your site away from Squarespace, you literally have to start again. You can't just migrate your site to something else. You will have to get it built on one of the other platforms. And the other reason that I don't like Squarespace is because if there are features that they don't provide, then you just can't have it. And they don't integrate with a lot of other external systems like ActiveCampaign, for example, because they have their own system for email marketing. So yes, if you are definitely looking to just start and you want to just use Squarespace, then yes, you can use it. Like I said, there's no issue in using it. You've just got to think about what you might need in the future. And the last question is, do I need a hosting provider? Now, if you're using a system like Squarespace or Wix, no, you don't need a hosting provider because Squarespace and all that host your website and that for you. The only time that you'll need a hosting provider is if you're going to be using a platform like WordPress and the self-hosted version of WordPress. You'll definitely need a hosting provider for that. And the other thing that the hosting providers will also provide you is email services. So if you need to have email for your business, then you can use the hosting provider's email service. I do recommend my clients that when you are having an online business, that you kind of separate your services out. So yes, you have your hosting provider for your website, but then use a system like Google Workspace or Microsoft 365 for your email. And the reason I suggest this to clients is because if something happens to your hosting provider, generally it doesn't, but just in case, your email won't go down either because it's on separate systems. But as well, Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace give you other solutions as well. So they will give you like Word, Excel, or spreadsheets, PowerPoint, all that type of stuff as part of those packages. So you do have a whole business suite that you can use. Plus, the email systems are a lot more robust than just using the hosting provider's email solutions, because you have calendars and all of that all integrated. So that's what I would recommend. But if you are going to be using something like Squarespace, so that you don't necessarily need a hosting provider, because they'll do it all for you. It's only when you need when you're hosting WordPress yourself. So I hope that you've enjoyed today's content. There's plenty more in the pipeline. So please do look to subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell as well, so that you get notified when I next go live and when I next post a video. So I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.